Hello viewers, continuing from the last session where we discussed about the trigonometric ratios of specific angles 30, 60, 45. Now we will be examining the trigonometric ratios of angle 0. Now in order to examine the values for 0, we should draw a right triangle. As usual, I am drawing a right triangle with B as 90 degrees and angle CL marked as theta. Now, when the angle becomes 0, the theta value diminishes. So, in this process, A takes various positions, but at one position where the angle is 0, it comes and merges with B, that the hypotenuse AC also becomes almost equal to BC. So, we don't have the opposite side at all. If we don't have the opposite side, when we attempt to find the value of sin 0, it is 0 by AC, which will give you 0. Now cos 0. Cos 0 is the hypotenuse and the adjacent side. They both are almost the same. So let me write AC by BC, which is almost the same. The value is 1. Then tan 0. Tan 0 is what? Opposite divided by adjacent. So opposite side is 0, adjacent is BC, that becomes 0. What about cosecant 0? Cosecant 0 is the reciprocal of sine value. So sine value being 0, that is 1 by 0. Or if you go by the definition, it is hypotenuse divided by the opposite side. So in which case we got AC by 0, which is not defined. So let me use the symbol infinity there. Now what about secant of 0? Secant 0 is hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. Hypotenuse being AC and the adjacent is BC. Almost they are the same value. So we get the value 1. What about cot of 0? Cot of 0 is the reciprocal of tan 0. We get 1 by 0. Or if you go by the definition, we will get adjacent divided by opposite. Adjacent is BC and opposite is 0. We get 1 by 0, BC by 0. The value is again not defined, it becomes infinity. Now go through the values. Sin 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1, tan 0 is 0, cosecant 0 is infinity, and secant 0 is 1, and cot 0 is infinity. Is it clear to you? Now let us examine the values for 90 degrees. So when we have the 90 degrees, theta value becomes 90 degrees. I want you to draw one more right triangle. Let it be triangle ABC and angle B is 90 degrees. So this is the right triangle. C is marked as theta degrees. Now can you tell me when theta increases to 90, what will happen to the position? So C is slowly getting shifted. So otherwise it can't become 90. So slowly the value increases. At one point of time, the C comes and joins with B. We get the value to be 90, in which case the adjacent is completely missing. If the adjacent side is missing, the adjacent side we have to substitute as 0 for getting the trigonometric ratios. Is it clear to you? So if it is the case, we have got sin 90 as it is opposite divided by hypotenuse. Hypotenuse will almost be equal to AB only. So we write this as AB by AC, which is almost the same. The value is 1. What about cos 90, children? Cot 90 is no adjacent side in this case. So 0 divided by AC, that is also 0. Then what about tan 90? Tan 90 is 1 by 0 or sine by cos. Or if you go by the definition, it is opposite divided by the adjacent. Opposite is AB, adjacent is missing, the value becomes infinity. So tan 90 is infinity. So what about cosecant? Cosecant 90, if you go by the definition, it is AC divided by the opposite, AC being the hypotenuse, AB the opposite. So we will get AC by AB, which are almost the same in this case. So we have got the value 1. What about secant 90? Secant 90 is the reciprocal of cos 1 by 0, that becomes infinity, or we are going to denote by the symbol infinity. But if you go by the definition, it is hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. So adjacent is completely missing in this case. So we have got AC divided by 0, which is denoted as infinity. Now what about cot 90? Your guess is right. Cot 90 is what? If you go by the definition, it is adjacent divided by the opposite. Now here adjacent is completely missing. So we have got 0 divided by AB. So which is again 0, or you can even consider it is the reciprocal of tan 90. Reciprocal of tan 90 is cot 90. Therefore it is also 1 by infinity, which is equal to 0. So now let us consider the values once again. Sin 90 is 1, cos 90 is 0, tan 90 is infinity, cosecant 90 is 1, secant 90 is infinity, and cot 90 is 0. Is that clear to you? Now we are going to have all the 5 values in one particular chart, and we are going to establish many relationships using your complementary angles. Thank you, children. We will have the session now. Of the 0 angle, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees. Now, first let us compare 30 and 60. 30 and 60 is what? Sine of 30, we have got it as half, and that is also equal to cos of 60. That is, what did I teach you in the last session? Sine of a value is equal to cos of its complement. So what is the complement of 30? 60. Similarly, cos of 30 is root 3 by 2, and that is equal to sine of its complement, that is root 3 by 2. Can you note down for tan also? Tan of 30 is 1 by root 3, and that should be equal to cot of its complement. So what is the cot of its complement? 1 by root 3. Obviously the complement of 30 is 60 degrees. Compare these two values. Similarly, cosecant of 30 degrees, we have got it as 2, and that is equal to secant of its complement, namely 60. So there is a matching here. Similarly, secant of 30, 2 by root 3, that must be equal to the cosecant of 60, which is its complement. So there is a matching here. Cot of 30 is root 3, and that is equal to tan of its complement. That's complement of 30 is obviously 60. There is a perfect matching between these two. Now this is for 30 and 60, and 45 is unique. Why I say 45 is unique? When the angle becomes 45, it is an isosceles right triangle. So adjacent side, opposite sides, both are equal. Therefore, we get the sine and cos values to be equal. That is 1 by root 2 and 1 by root 2. Obviously, the tan value, which is the ratio of opposite by adjacent, we'll get the value as 1. And then the other ratios, cosecant and secant. So reciprocal of 1 by root 2 is root 2. We have got root 2 here. And reciprocal of 1 by root 2 for cos, it is the secant, it is to root 2. So the cosecant and secant values of 45 happen to be the same as root 2. Obviously, the reciprocal of 1 is 1, namely cot of 45 is also equal to 1. So these both are complements. 45 and 45 are complement. That is why we got the same values. Another thing is 0 and 90. So you don't have to be explained that 0 and 90 are complementary angles. Sine of 0 is equal to cos of its complement, namely 90, both are same. When I say 0 and 90, your eyes should see only the 0 and 0 here in both the columns, and you have to have a matching of these two values. Similarly, cos of 0 is equal to 90 of its cos of 90, which is its complement. See, there is a matching between these two and these two. Now, tan of 0 must be equal to cot of its complement. So, the complement of 0 is 90. Therefore, we have got tan 0 and cot 90 as 0, 0 only. Similarly, cosecant of 0 is infinity, and that is equal to secant of its complement, which is 90. So, there is a matching between these two values. Similarly, secant of 0 must be equal to cosecant of its complement, namely 90. So, we have got these two values as 1. Finally, cot of 0, which is equal to infinity, which is equal to tan of its complement, namely infinity. So, there is a matching between this and this. So, likewise, if you are able to connect the complementary angles which we studied in our previous session with these values, we can easily remember the trigonometrical values. There are a lot of techniques, simple techniques are available. Let me teach you one technique to remember these trigonometrical. Now, in order to remember these values correctly, there are a lot of techniques adapt. So, one such simple technique is using your own fingers. So, in this by finger method, we will be only evaluating the two values sin and cos, and of course, the other angles you can always find out. Now, stretch your fingers nicely, and all of you can use your right hand. So, stretch all your fingers. Now, the little finger here is the 0, and the next finger, the ring finger, we will fix it as 30 degrees, and the middle finger you fix for 45 degrees, and then the point finger or the index finger you assign 60 degrees, and your thumb for 90. Shall I repeat? This is your 0, this is your 30 degrees, and this is your 45 degrees, and this finger is for 60 degrees, and the thumb is for 90 degrees. Okay. Now, when I say sine, you should look at your right. When I say sine, you have to look at your right. When I say cos, you have to look at your left. Understood? When I say sine, you should look at your right. When I say cos, you should look at your left. Okay. Now, shall we evaluate the value 0? Sine 0 first. Which finger you have to see? The little finger. The sine 0. What is sine? Is there any other finger here? In the right, there is no finger. Therefore, the numerator is 0. Square root of 0 you should put. And for all the values, the denominator should be 2. So, 0 by 2. Correct? What is 0 by 2? 0. Therefore, sine 0 is 0. Understood? Now, for the same 0 value, what is cos? When I say cos, you should see to your left. So, when I say cos 0, all of you see to your left and tell me how many fingers are there? There are 4. So, the square root of 4 is what? 2. For both the values sine and cos, you should use the denominator 2 only. So, in the numerator it should be root 4 and in the denominator it should be 2. Therefore, what do you get? 2 by 2, which is 1. Therefore, sine 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. Is that clear to you? Now, what about the other ratios? Tan 0 is 0. Cosecant 0 is 1 by 0, which is not defined. Secant 0 is 1 by 1, that is 1. Now, cot 0 is what? 1 by tan 0, which is equal to 1 by 0, which is also not defined. So, all the 6 ratios of 0 degrees we have got through this finger. Therefore, we can remember that way. Now, come back to 30 degrees. So 30 degrees, all of you consider your ring finger. So in your ring fingers, when I say sine, you should see to your right. When I say cos, you should see to your left. So now sine 30. We should see sine 30. Sine 30 here, how many fingers are there in towards your right? It is only 1. Therefore, the square root of 1 is what? 1. What is there in the denominator? 2. So, 1 by 2. Sine 30 value is 1 by 2. Clear? Now, cos. You should see to your left. So, if you see to your left, how many fingers are there here? 3. What is the square root of 3? Root 3. What is there in the denominator? 2. Therefore, what is sine 30? Root 3 by 2. Are you understanding? Sine 30 is root 3 by 2. Sine 30 is half. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. Now what about tan 30? Sine by cos. Obviously it is 1 by root 3. What about cosecant 30? It is reciprocal of sine, which is 2. What about secant 30? Reciprocal of cos. It is 2 by root 3. And what is cot 30? It is reciprocal of 1 by root 3. So 30 degrees is over. Now come to the next value, 45. All of you should only fix 45 degrees values for the middle finger. This is 45. Correct? Now you have to tell me, when I say sine, you should see to your right. How many fingers are there? It is sine 45 you are going to get. So it is 2. So we have to consider the value root 2. Now root 2, denominator is what? 2. What is root 2 by 2, my dear children? Root 2 by 2, 2 can be written as root 2 into root 2. That root 2 will cancel. So you get sine 45 as 1 by root 2. Correct? Now come back to cos. Cos root 2. When I say cos, you should see to your left. How many fingers are here? Only 2 fingers. So what is the square root value of root 2? It is root 2. Correct? So root 2 by 2. Once again, you get root 2 divided by root 2 into root 2. Root 2 cancels. You have got the value 1 by root 2. Correct? So sine 45 you have got as 1 by root 2. Cos 45 you have got as 1 by root 2. So the value is the same, or both the values are same for 45 degrees, which I have listed here. So once you know sine and cos, what about tan? It is 1. Then what about cosecant? This is root 2. What is secant? It is root 2. And then what is cot value? It is 1 already. Got it clear? Very good. Now come here, you have to tell me. Next we have to keep your index finger for 60 degrees. Are you all ready? Now tell me, when I say sine, you should look at your right and tell me the square root value. Yes. So sine 60. Sine 60, all of you look at your right side. So tell me how many fingers left? Root 3. What is there in the denominator? Yes, 2. So what is sine 60? Root 3 by 2. Clear? Are you understanding? Now cos 60. Cos 60 means you should look at your left. So if you fix this as 60, and how many fingers are here? Only 1. So square root of 1 gives you what? 1. What is there in the denominator? 2. So 1 by 2. So sine 60 is root 3 by 2. And then cos 60 is half. Therefore, what is tan 60? That is sine by cos. That gives you root 3. What about cosecant 60? 2 by root 3. What is secant 60? It is 2. What is cot 60? It is 1 by this value. Correct? Very good. Now, you have to tell me the values for tan 90. Now, which is the tan 90? The thumb is the 90 degrees angle. So, if you fix it as 90, when I say sine, look towards your right. When I say cos, look towards your left. So sin 90, how many fingers here? 4. Square root of 4 gives you 2. What is there in the denominator? 2. 2 by 2 gives you just 1. When I say cos 90, look at your left and tell me, is there any finger here? No, 0. So 0 by 2 gives you 0. Correct? So sin 90 is 1 and then cos 90 is 0. Therefore, tan 90 is sin by cos, the value infinity. Then cosecant 90 is sin 1 by sin, that is 1. Secant 90 is 1 by 0, it is not defined. So we have got the infinity symbol written here. And cot 90 is what? It is cot 90 is 1 by tan, that gives you 0 as this value. Is that clear to you? This is a simple technique and I don't compulsorily tell you have to remember this way and then memorize the values. It is up to you. There are many techniques you can follow for remembering this trigonometrical ratios of some specific angles which are very, very important. Then you have to learn it by heart. In whatever way you remember, you can do it. Okay, children? Thank you. We'll go to the next session on trigonometric identities. Thank you, children.